Yo, what's up? This your boy AWAX with the Lunch and Blood Show, and we back with another week and another episode. And man, you know what it is. We sitting down with a very special guest, man. General sales manager, entrepreneur,
Yes, sir.
business owner,
Yes, sir.
Jay Atkins, man. What's happening?
Man, Adrian, we talked about this. It's been a minute for me to get on your show.
Yes.
I'm proud to be here.
Yeah.
I'm proud to support your show.
Thank
And you're a good dude, man. I've worked with you and worked around you, and just happy to be here.
Man, thank you. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
And today we talking about, man, credit struggles and coming back.
Yeah.
Credit struggles and comebacks, man.
Yeah. That is a really good topic.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna start out by going to the Bible first.
Okay.
All right. So I talked to you about this before we started, and you had never seen this verse. And I'm gonna kind of read it to us. Ecclesiastes 10 and 19. Okay. And basically it says, a feast is made for laughter. Wine makes life merry, but money answers everything. And that's kind of what my pastor talked about at church today, because I had talked to him about that about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And he brought that topic today.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Money makes. But see, the thing we were taught about money is don't worship money. Money is the root of all evil.
Straight out of the Bible.
Yeah.
Came straight out of the Bible. Money answers everything. So we talked a little bit about this, and I was telling you about Jay-Z and the story of OJ.
Yeah.
And you had never seen where he talked about credit.
Yeah.
So money and credit are aligned, but the big basic principle that really that puts them together is this: credit buys you time.
Ooh.
Credit buys you time, Adrian. So here's the thing, and I taught you about credit cards. Okay, credit cards are the fastest way for you to build your credit ever.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to know how to use them.
Mm-hmm.
So, simple formula. If you got a credit card with $1,000 credit limit, the most money ever you can charge on that credit card is $300. I wouldn't charge over $250. Okay. But if you got enough of them, you can make them work for you. You always hear people saying, make money work for you.
Yeah. How does that work? Explain that to us.
Okay.
Break that down for us.
Okay. So I buy things on a monthly basis. Okay. You buy gas, you buy groceries.
Yeah.
I could pull my cash out of my pocket and buy it, but here's where credit works for you. I got credit cards that give me 5% cash back. Now that don't sound like a whole lot, but if I'm paying 10% in taxes, at least I'm getting 5 of my 10% back. The only way that I get charged is if I let it hit and go over a certain period on my credit. So let's say my credit card is due on the 16th. I pay it off no later. I pay out no later than the 14th. Then after that, you have a due date and you have a report date. We talked about this.
Okay.
So 9 times out of 10, if your due date is the 15th, your report date is going to be sometime around the 20th, which means you don't need to touch that credit card until the 22nd or the 23rd. Okay. So what does that mean? That means when they report, they're going to show there's no, the bill was paid off. He didn't jump back on there trying to use that credit card again. So that elevates your score.
Because, like most of us, they think they pay it off. Oh, what, now I got to go spend it again.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the case.
If you have enough credit cards, you ought to have a way where you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So there's different sources out there. there's different companies. I use my FICA. I've showed it to you. And that's what I'm finna do right now. So I'm finna pull up my FICA, and then I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna kind of give your guys on your podcast a view of what I see when I pull up my FICA. So when I pull up my FICA, it gives me a glance at what's on my credit, what my score looks like, so I can see. Get here to where it is. Get in my system, and it does a couple things. So you hear people talking about LifeLock. My FICA can do the same thing as LifeLock, which means they can monitor my credit, they can protect my credit, they make sure that if something's going on with my credit, I get an update. I get a chance to see what my credit looks like. And in doing that, that process is pretty easy. It shows my credit score on every bureau, what it looks like, and I like it. I monitor my credit on a daily basis, a weekly basis. If I go and charge something, it'll show what I charged. It'll do all of that for me.
Now, when you say credit will buy you time,
Mm-hmm.
can you elaborate a little bit more?
Okay. So what I mean when I say credit buys you time, credit allows you. I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say you've got great credit, and you hit a wall in life like most people do. Credit will give you an opportunity because you had good credit in the beginning, an opportunity to buy time. It'll hold off the problems. If I can't pay my mortgage, I can say, okay, for the next 6 months, I'm gonna go ahead and use this credit I got to pay my mortgage up. Well, I ain't got to be worried about nothing. Now you have to be smart with it, because I'm gonna explain a mortgage to you. When with a mortgage, you cannot like pay a mortgage like people think. You can't pay it up for 6 months. It has to be paid every month.
Yeah.
Now, if you pay it up for 6 months, it's still gonna come due that next month.
Mm-hmm.
But what you can do with credit is you can take it and get you an advance on the money and put that money in the bank to make your mortgage payments with. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm out of work. I got a mortgage due. Let me go ahead and leverage my credit where I don't have to be worried about my mortgage.
Yeah.
And my car note.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get 6 months ahead, even though I may be 6 months behind. I may take a credit hit, but I won't take a life hit.
Yeah. A credit hit and a life hit is two different things.
Yeah, for me, because my car note ain't finna be late. My house note ain't finna be late.
And those are life hits.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'll take you out.
Yeah.
But as long as you and as long as you make your payments, you're gonna make the minimum payment.
Yeah.
You're gonna get hit with this interest. And that's why I tell people. So I think I use an example with a friend of mine. I said, I use the American Express rule. And what the American Express rule says for me is, hey, I'm going to go ahead and pay off. I'm going to go ahead and pay off my credit card at the end of the month. That's what I got. American Express Gold card. I know when it's due. It's due on the 4th today. That's been paid off. I got another American Express card. It's due on the 12th. I got another American Express card. It's due on the 19th. Yeah. I got Camp One card. Both of them. I got a Discover, U.S. Bank, City. Mm-hmm. I've got several credit cards. I've showed you how thick my credit card portfolio is. But I know when they do. I know the due date, and I know the report dates, and I know how to use them to build my credit. And I've showed you my 800 beacons. I got like 803, 809, 820. You got to be smart with using your credit. Revolving is the fastest you'll get.
Yeah.
The other day, I came here and I've been talking to you about this house. I'm buying this 3,600 square foot house.
Yeah.
And so in buying this house, I look up, my realtor called me and said, I got some good news and some bad news. I said, well, what's giving the bad news first? He said, I told you 2 weeks ago to start packing them glasses up. So now you behind. He said, we and they'll tell you you're cleared to close is what what the phrase is.
Yeah.
You're cleared to close. So I've been in my other house 17 years, and I'm torn with the issue of, do I rent it out? Do I fix it up? I got a guy making me an offer on it just the way it sits, and if I get enough money, I just sell it.
Yeah.
And I know about what it should be worth. Yeah. And so if I get enough for it, I sell it. If not, I'll gut it out and fix it up and do what I'm going to do. Yeah. You know, I talked to you about this because I started a business a while back, and my business is doing really well. Yeah. And God is good.
What's the name of the company again?
It's Accessors, XCESUS. We are like the third highest sought after business in the Philippines. So I do foreclosures due to tax sales, which means if somebody loses their home, like a family home, let's say you live with your mom, or my grandmother left your house and you didn't pay the taxes on it. Generally, what happens is it's a group of people, and they don't all want to pay the taxes. So one person be like, "Well, I'm not going to pay these taxes either, but I'm gonna still stay here." And then eventually, you're gonna get evicted because it's in foreclosed on due to tax seizure. Mm-hmm. And so I buy those. I go in. I find those people that have got kicked out of their home due to tax seizure. So I'm gonna give you an example. I had a lady living in Arkansas, and the one good thing about these cell phones, Adrian, is you can generally, most people don't change their cell phone number. Like my cell phone number has been the same for 20 years now. I don't know about yours, but so we were able to track this lady down. She was sleeping in a truck in Walmart's parking lot. Mm. And the guy that I work with, Steve taught me the business, but Tom is the guy that I work with. And so Tom, he's a great guy. He's in Utah. And he runs my company from there. And he basically was telling me, look, dude, I don't want to take my commission on this. I just want to pay the workers. And he was I said, well, tell me the story. What's going on? Say they kicked this woman out of her house. She's sleeping in the parking lot at Walmart in her truck. And she goes in Walmart and cleans up the best she can and goes and sits in her truck all day. I said, well, how much do they owe her? And he was like, they owe like $80-something thousand. I said, well, okay, do me a favor. Let's see if we can find her a trailer with some land. And we did. And the trailer was like 50-something thousand, and with the land in Arkansas. And we told her what we wanted to do. And she was agreeable. I got to see if I should have pulled that picture up, but he took a picture, had her send us a picture with her in front of her trailer. We got her 80-something thousand. I didn't take my part either. We just got her the money. Yeah. You know, that's something we do periodically for people that are in need. Yeah. Sleeping in a trailer in Walmart parking lot after they put out. That's sad. She's 80-something years old.
That's very sad. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, it's so many people that's in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of people that lose their property. And I'm not going to say due to stupidity, but I'm going to say due to a lack of knowledge. That's what the Bible says.
Mm-hmm.
We perish for a lack of knowledge. Something happens to you, you fall down, you get back up. But sometimes, people don't know how to get back up.
That brings me to my next question. How do people recover from bad credit?
That's a great question, Adrian. Man, I've got people and contacts in my phone. I don't know if I can say people now. I'm gonna use his last name is Jackson. I'm not gonna say his first name, but he's a credit repair specialist that I know that's very good at what he does. And he helps people with credit issues. You can do it one or two ways. You can fix it yourself.
Yeah.
You can get somebody to fix it. It doesn't matter what you do. Those are basically only two ways. I don't know a third way, but I do know most people don't know how to fix it.
Yeah.
Now, I'll say it to you like this. If you don't have any credit and you're trying to get some credit, one of the best places to get started, now I'm not going to tell you after you get started to stay there, is Capital One.
Yeah.
Capital One has a great program to help people get started. Most of the other banks, it's going to be hit or miss.
Yeah.
But Capital One,
yeah,
they are great. They help people get started every day. Man, it's hard. I seen people struggle. I really have. I've seen people struggle. I'm gonna just tell you a little bit about me, Adrian.
Yeah.
How I kind of got started.
Yeah.
I got started in the car business, and I watched the guy. He comes in now. His name is Lee. Lee's parents got him started by adding them as a card holder on their credit. At you can do this with your kids at like 13, 14, 15 years old. And all they did was add him as a card holder. Now, they didn't let him have a credit card until he got old and knew responsibility. But while he was young, he had a credit. He had credit. When I went to work with him, Lee was getting ready to do something one day to my buying a car. Hell, back then it was unheard of. This dude had like a 750 beacon score. And I was like blown away, I had like maybe a 620. He was a 750. I was like, dude. What? I said, you got all that? He said, my dad did that for me, So what I will tell you is Jewish people, white folks, they help their kids get established early. And the difference is that way you don't have to co-sign for them. You don't have to put your name on something because credit is this is how credit is measured. 35% is credit history. Okay. 30% of what you do is how you pay your bills and all of that. So your credit history, then you got length of credit. Okay. So you really want to be at least 3 years or more length of credit before people are gonna start. So if you're a fresh, you got a 700 beacon, but you only been out there for a year. That's not linked. You got lucky. Okay, yeah. You're paying your bills on time, which is good, but the banks really don't know.
There's no history.
Yeah, you have no history, and you really need 3 years. Okay, but when you do that, Adrian, for your kids, you do it at 15.
Yeah.
When your son turned 18, 19, your daughter turned 18, 19 years old, they already got length of credit.
Yeah.
You're the person paying the bills. As long as you're paying your bills on time, their credit is going to be excellent.
Yeah.
So you don't have to co-sign for your kids. That's how you co-sign for them without co-sign for them.
Bring me to my next question.
Okay.
Money and relationships.
Great topic. So I talked to you about this. I got a book getting ready to come out. It's called Life Lessons from My Uncle. Okay. So I had two uncles, but I merged them together because they both gave me significant information. One lived in California. Both of them are passed away. Bless both of them. But Uncle Huey and Uncle Eunice, one lived on the West Coast, Uncle Huey. The other one lived up north in Michigan, but he was a professor at Southern University, which my mom graduated from. That's where I went to school at. And very thankful for Southern University and what they've done for me and my family. Man, it's they taught me so much just as a man. People don't know, I come from a single parent household. My mom worked 4 jobs to maintain our household. She's done a lot. I'm very proud of my mother for everything that she's done.
Women aren't built like that today. They're not built like that today.
No, not even close.
Very few.
What the issue is, Adrian, and this is kind of one of the biggest things that's going to be in the book, is it deals with percentages, so it's fair to both parties. Okay, I'm gonna use this example. So I'm gonna start out with a man. You got a man making $10,000 a month. You got a wife making $8,000 a month. Okay, if you have that deal, or let's say $10,000 a month and $6,000 a month. So I want to be a discrepancy difference. Not so you got 10,000 and 6,000. So y'all bring in 16,000 a month home. If you use this in percentages and you go, this is what we're gonna do for so make sure this is all. I don't want nobody messaging me while I'm trying to finish this up. You decide, okay, this is what we're gonna do. 60% of our income is gonna go toward what we're gonna talk about. The rest, the other 40%, we keep. Okay. The one equation that they take out of this that they don't touch is a car. So your car is your car, my car is my car. We don't combine cars together at all. And I'm gonna tell you why. But let's get back to the bills first, and then I'm gonna go back to that topic. The bills, you got a house note, you got utilities, water, gas, electric, food, stuff around the house has got to be taken care of, and all those issues. Those things are all handled under the 60% that each one of y'all contributed. So you can't go back and say, well, I paid more and you paid this and that. You don't have that issue because y'all are all contributed the same amount if you use percentages. 60% of your money is the same as 60% of my money.
Yeah.
I keep 40, you keep 40.
Yeah.
Now, what they both encourage everyone to do so that nobody can mess up is y'all both sign off. You have checks where they have to have a dual signature. That way nobody can go in and clean out the bank account and run with the money if the other one decides to get stupid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So on both deals have a dual signature. That way y'all don't end up like, I'm finna tell you, a friend of mine. So I've been in the car business, Adrian, since 1989. So just a little while. Don't know how old you was in 1989,
yeah.
but I've been in car business since then.
So time.
One of my managers I worked with, his wife came to see him. I had never seen this woman. And I'd worked with him for like 6 years. And I said, who was that? He said, that was my wife. She came to take me to lunch. I said, he said, why you got that funny look on your face? I said, I've never seen your wife. I ain't even seen her at no Christmas party. We've been to Christmas parties. I've never seen her. Yeah. He said, well, she just was being nice to take me to lunch. And I got to looking funny again. I'm like, okay. Next day he come to work, his head down, looking funny. I said, man, what happened? Man, my wife came to take me to lunch, so I didn't go home to eat, I guess. And my whole house was empty. My bank account was gone. I had over 100 grand in there, and it was all gone. Everything cleaned out of my house. So I said that to say this, it can go both ways.
That's a hurting feeling.
Yeah. How'd you like to go home to a house and a bank account with nothing in it? She left $1 in there so she didn't have to close it and them to have to call her.
That's cold.
And she put $1,000 on the coffee table on the mortgage they owed $3,000 a month. And it was due like tomorrow. Like the day he walked into my dealership the next day, he had $1,000 on a $3,000 house note.
That's cold.
All the cars gone, everything of value, furniture and everything.
That's
yeah. That's what can happen to you.
Love and relationships and money.
Yeah, that's what can happen to you. So that's why I say, put your situation as far as checks where dual signatures are required, where you have to have, because if you do a dual signature and she forges your name, then that's going to be on her in the bank, and then she'll have to deal with that, or he'll have to deal with that. Yeah. It go both ways, however it is. If the man do it to her or the woman do it to him. Something that most people don't know about, and I'm going to just say this on your podcast. Don't know if you know this, but ladies and gentlemen, you cannot take somebody's phone and go through it. There's a new law out there now that if you take this person's phone, and even if you think they suspect them of cheating, the lady was in court and she said, I got these pictures of my husband and he was cheating on me and they got all this stuff. Where did you get it? I got it out of his phone. As soon as she admitted that, she incriminated herself. Wow. And the judge told her attorney, said, you may want to advise your client if she submits that evidence to what can happen to her. And this is a pretty new law, so a lot of people don't know about this, Adrian. If your wife right now goes to your phone, she finds some incriminating text messages or whatever, you cannot use that. You take that to court, she goes to jail. Prison time.
That brings me to my next question then, man.
Okay.
Can love survive if the money's not right? Can love survive if the money's not right?
Adrian, it's really hard these days, okay? And I'm gonna say it to you like this, because it's a deal out there right now talking about the African American Black woman and what's gonna happen to them by 2025. In the next 5 years, by 2030. Listen to me, ladies, because this is you can Google this yourself and look it up. It's a rough topic. Most African American women, they're projecting there to be 75% of African American women to be single and not with anybody.
Why is that? What is the cause for this?
Well, a lot of it is entitlement. A lot of women feel like a man should, they looking for, Kevin Samuels said it best, they looking for somebody to scoop them up, put them in their arms. They're looking for some big, strong, 6'9", football playing dude, basketball playing dude to scoop them up and just take them away and give them all the stuff they want. They're looking for a fantasy. And a lot of these, and I can say it to a few of my friends, some people I know. A lot of these people are raising their kids with this princess treatment.
They're entitled.
entitlement. A sense of entitlement. When you raise your daughter, and I'm going to say this to you. If I don't have a daughter, but if I was raising my child right now, I would be raising them with this aspect in mind. You should never, ever think of your daughter to a point where you raise up higher and you make her feel like she's got to have this certain type person because you're giving them unrealistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
What about the working class guy that would treat your daughter right?
Yeah.
That's a plumber. Would I love for my daughter to marry a doctor? That would be great if he's going to treat my daughter right.
Correct.
The first part is treat my daughter right. I don't care if you're a multimillionaire. Yeah. I don't want you slapping my daughter around or beating on my daughter or kicking her or doing something I wouldn't do. But they put these high expectations, my daughter gonna be this and that. She gonna marry this type of guy. And then she get her nose in the air and look past a guy that's walking down the street
that's really good for.
Yeah. You can never, ever put your daughter in that situation. Yeah. You got to be realistic and say, hey, this is what I want from her. I want my daughter to be with somebody that's going to treat her right, take care of her. I don't care if he's a plumber, or electrician, or if he's a car salesman. Yeah. A lot of people, they don't realize there's different jobs out there that people make decent money at. Yep. And you just have to be humble, thankful to God for the situation he's put you in. Because I promise you, the last thing you want to do is be humbled by God. Ooh. Because your Job and Joseph moment,
ain't nothing nice.
There ain't nothing nice. If you ever read the book of Job and you know what Joseph went through when he was in prison, I promise you, you do not want to be humbled like that. God has humbled me, and I know what it feels like to be humble.
Feel like to be in the belly of the whale.
Ooh, I don't need any moments like that anymore. I'm very thankful for being out of them. Yeah. But I can tell you that it's life changing. It will take your breath away.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. We're gonna switch topics a little bit. Okay. Being a car salesman. Mm-hmm. With everything going on with the tariffs and everything in the economy, how do you think this is gonna affect the car business?
I think it's gonna affect used cars more than it is new cars right away. Because I've been watching the prices of used cars go up. And ladies and gentlemen, if you need a car, you need to get one. Yeah. And you need to get one as quickly as possible. You can sit here and say, I'm going to wait through this. Nah. Okay, I'm finna tell you what waiting through this is going to be. You remember when we could have bought some eggs? Now, they're perishable. And you couldn't have stocked up too much. But when you could have bought eggs and you didn't and you waited around and they went from what they had to like $9 or whatever. Cars are going to be worse than that. You remember the pandemic? It ain't going to quite get to that point, I don't think, but it's going to get to where it's going to be, it's going to get to be tough, especially if you're looking for any kind of import type car. Yeah. Toyotas, Hondas, Lexus, BMW, Mercedes, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Those cars are going to get to be expensive. Yeah. Going to get to be very expensive. Yeah. Like I said, I started the car business in 1989. So I moved out of this area and went to Arkansas because they didn't want to pay black men. There were very
few. Back in 89.
No, this was in 2018. They didn't want to pay. They didn't want to pay us. They didn't want to pay black managers. So really? They did not. Mm-mm. Now Yoakum might have because they're very. But everywhere else other than Yoakum, I worked for Yoakum. I was the first black salesperson they had. They had one before me, but in 1990, I went to work for them. And I worked for them from 1995. I went to work for them. I worked for them from 1995 to 2000. And I went to Atkins Nissan, and I worked there for about 6 months. And by 2020, I was a manager. They put me in the finance office. I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be on the desk.
Yeah.
But God has a way of putting you where you need to be.
True.
And so me being in the finance office taught me everything I needed to know. He worked me backwards. He put me back there and then worked me back up front.
Yeah.
So I worked for them and left there and went to work for Gary McKinnon Nissan. Worked for them for a while and then left and went to work for the Lincoln people that were here. Jay Williams, the Lincoln, where that church is. I worked for them for about 5 years. And then I went to work with South Point 40 as a black guy had it, Harvey Clay. He passed away not long ago. But I worked for there, and then I ended up going to Landers Dodge. I worked for there for like 6 years. Then I went to Landers Dodge for like 7.5 years. And they, like I said, they didn't want to pay here, so I ended up in Arkansas. And it was crazy because I'm in Cabot, Arkansas, and I'm just kind of telling you what Cabot is. So if you know what Little Rock is, you got North Little Rock, you got Jacksonville, that's the Air Force Base. And then Cabot is north of there. It's the next town up. And I get there, and the guy that was there, his name was Stan. He was a GM, and the guy demoted him down to sales manager. He didn't fire him because they couldn't get the store past like 150,000. So I get there, and I'm walking around the dealership, and there's like nobody in parts, nobody in service, nobody. The porter was white. The dude that watched the cars was white. There was no black people. So I said, let me go to Walmart. I'm finna find some black people now.
Yeah.
So I go in Walmart, and there's no black people in Walmart. And then I'm walking down the aisle, and I see somebody that look like they're black. I back up, and it's a light-skinned dude. And I see him, he see me, we go. and what I found living there, I'm come back and tell you what I asked to do. What I found living there, most of the people that lived there that were black were they didn't want to live in Jacksonville, the town, because of the crime. So look, I don't know if you know about Little Rock. Little Rock is rough.
Banging in
Little Rock. Yeah, it's a rough town.
Yeah.
So you had North Little Rock and Maumelle, they're parallel towns. So North Little Rock is here, Maumelle is here. It's two different bridges going in.
Yeah.
So it'd be like the Jimmy Davis Bridge versus the I-20 Bridge.
Yeah.
But they're two different towns. One is Maumelle, one is North Little Rock. And I worked up there for like 2.5 years, and the guy, he paid me well, and I left there and ended up in Natchez, Mississippi for about 4.5 years. Yeah.
Like old Natchez.
Old Natchez, Mississippi.
Yeah.
4.5 years in Natchez, Mississippi. God taught me a lot, man. Just showed me a lot about credit, showed me a lot about life, and we linked up, and everyone I meet, I get a chance to see. I'm like, man, I'm like energized, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta ask, what's the best and the worst things about selling cars?
The best thing is, and I wrote it on the board up there. And I wrote, every customer has a story.
Powerful.
And then this is the last part. It's our part to figure out how we fit into their story.
Powerful.
Because everybody that walks through there, And this is what I call a yokel philosophy. So I tell people you can buy a car anywhere. Most people can. But it's how you gonna be treated after the sale. Once I sell your car, am I gonna want to deal with a problem that you have? And you know me, Adrian, I don't run from customers.
No.
If somebody have an issue with a car, whether it's a maintenance issue or whatever, I always talk to them. And I'm going to talk to them like they got some sense.
Yes.
Now, if you start talking crazy to me, I'm going to say, sir, ma'am, whoever you are, let's have a civil conversation because we're not going to put curse words and, agitations into our discussion. Let's just tell me what's wrong. Let me tell you how I think I can solve your problem and we'll work it out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I put you in a rental car till we fix something. And, and then when you tell me, well, that ain't gonna work, then there's no way for me to help you.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? I can't fix your car and leave you in the car.
Yeah.
It don't work like that. So if I can not, even if you didn't buy a warranty, which most people say, well, you ain't buying no warranty, so figure out how you gonna get to work.
Yeah.
I don't do that to people. That's why I love working for Yokem, because they take care of their customers. That's why they have so much comeback, people coming back, buying cars again.
And they're locally owned.
Yes.
Yeah, they're not a big corporation. They're locally owned. And they employ a lot in the community. A lot of people in the community.
And they employ a lot of us in their community.
Yes, they do.
And so I'm gonna say this to you.
Yeah.
I think what I did with Mr. Hoyt when I worked for him before, and when I left to be a manager. I didn't leave because I got fired or something happened to me. He called me one day and wanted me to come back. And I said, Mr. Hoyt, I said, I've got to have an opportunity to become a manager. And there's so many guys you got that's been there for years that are in front of me. When I tell you this, most people don't understand this. If you've been at a car dealership and you're a manager and you count 5 years, you might well put a gun in your head because you finna go one way or the other. If you're not changing positions, if you're not finna be the GM or the GSM or something like that, you on your way out. They don't give you over 5 years. If you get 7, you real lucky.
Yeah.
Most companies don't give you that long. So
the car business has
but the managers at Yokem, Leonard's been there like 26 or 27 years.
Wow.
That's unheard of. You ain't gonna have nobody. And he worked his way up from a salesperson. I'm proud of it, of what he's done. And then when I get to see Will Terrell, his brother Terry and Kevin and Dinkin and you and that, the diversity, that was not there when I first got there. I was the only one there. Now, did they have people in the service department? They had like 3 or 4 guys. Yeah. That was it.
Yeah. How far it came? It came such a long way, hasn't it?
Oh my goodness. Yes. Yes.
In the car business, what's the most money you ever made?
I made over 250.
That's a damn good. Oh, sorry, excuse me, y'all. Sorry, did you? I just. Hey, that's awesome.
Yeah.
250.
I made over 250. I'm gonna leave it at that. I've made over 250. I've been blessed, man. Yeah. I truly been blessed. This business it's like it's almost for me because I've got another business and it's doing very well. It's almost like an addiction. It really is. And I'm gonna tell you how you know it's an addiction. When you get up in the morning and you really want to go to your job, that's an addiction. And I listened to the podcast this guy had, and he was talking about workaholics. I'm almost to that point of being one because I get there in the morning before most people. You be about the only person that'll beat me. You're a male.
Yeah,
and then I'm there after y'all leave until I've been there at 8 or 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
You know,
First in, last out.
Mm-hmm. I normally get to work about between 7:15, 7:30.
Yeah.
And then I'm out of there. If we got customers, we'll be there until 8, 9, 10 o'clock sometimes.
Yeah.
You know. And then I'm back at work the same way I did, before.
Like nothing ever happened.
Uh-huh.
What's the best advice to anyone that wants to sell cars?
My best advice for anybody that want to do that is to just come in and work hard, put your head down. Same thing with you. Grind. Just pick up the phone, call customers, and call them back. Because most of these little phones, they distractions. So sometimes you gotta ask people, that once they answer the phone, say, Mr. Customer, how's my number showing up? Is it showing up? Like I've had business people call me and they number show up as spam, so I ignored it the first 4 or 5 times they call me. So you gotta ask because it depends on the carrier you with. It may not be showing up properly.
Yeah.
I've been with AT&T a long time, and I've got another phone. This is my business phone. It's with Verizon. So, it depends on the carrier. Now, if you with an off-brand carrier, it may be showing up as spam. Yeah. And if a lot of people see spam or telemarketer, they just ain't answering the phone. Not like talking about it. So I tell salespeople now, and I'm not saying back to back blowing them up, but you gotta call people during the course of a day 7 to 11 times. If you're gonna be good at what you want to do. Yeah.
Just to get the deal.
Just to get in contact with them. First thing is you got to speak to somebody. Mm-hmm. Some people want to be text. If I call you 3 times and I ain't got you, I'm gonna probably text you or email you. Yeah. Now this is another thing we need to talk about. So all my African American folks out there, if this is something I introduce my man to. If anybody drink Jack Daniels, that's called Uncle Nearest. Yeah. And if you don't know who he is, he was a slave that created Jack Daniels. So anybody who drinks Jack Daniels, this is like way smoother than Jack Daniels. It's more like a cognac kind of alcohol if you drink alcohol. Yeah. His daughter and his granddaughter are both alive. And they also helped another young black man. For some reason, I don't know, because I know nothing about the alcohol industry. It's hard to get a license because that's the only way you can produce alcohol in America. And it's hard for us as African Americans to get one.
Uncle Nearest, so he was the one that created the formula for Jack Daniels.
Yes, sir. In Tennessee.
The
Tennessee whiskey was created by a black man.
Who knew?
That was a slave.
Who knew?
So he had to, when the guy, since it was Jack Daniels, I guess the guy's last name might have been Daniels. And so he was the one who, even Gentleman Jack, and I don't know if people who have had Gentleman Jack. Gentleman Jack ain't as smooth as that.
No, that's smooth.
Yeah.
That's smooth.
Yeah.
That's grown folks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's for grown people. Mm-hmm. Now, what did you think about it when I introduced it to you and I said, "Hey, go get you"?
It was next level for me, because I'm a Jack Daniels kind of guy.
Okay.
I like the Gentleman Jack.
Okay.
And then when you turned me on to this, I was like, this here is super smooth. Mm-hmm. I can dig it. It's light. You know what I'm saying? No hangover effect. Get you 1-2 good snorts, and you good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We need more businesses like that, black owned businesses. Mm-hmm. How important is that?
Man, it is so important to have people out there that employ. You know, like I told you, I'm like the number 3 most sought after people want to go to work for accessors in the Philippines. And kind of how we came along with this, we tried to use American workers first. Like I told you, you got to call people 7 to 11 times. We won't do that. You got to know how your number is showing up. It's got to be listed. You got to get on there. I got an 800 number that my workers call out of, and I know it's a good line, so you're not getting spam or telemarketer or this. Because I'm trying to track you down to give you some money.
Yeah.
So our phone call is, hey, Adrian, I'm glad I got in touch with you. Right now, there's some money owed to you, and there's a 6-month window. I only contact people within 1 to 6 months of them losing their money. Because what happens is, if I don't get it, if you don't get that money within a certain window, and every state's different. Some of them is 3 years, some of them is 7. And then every state won't pay you. Like the state of Louisiana, in which we live in, you don't get your money back. They just keep it.
Yeah, they keep everything.
Mm-hmm.
State of Louisiana, they want it, they gonna get it.
They keep it. They don't. So mine, they can't say nothing to me about my business because I run mine out of Wyoming.
So you run it out of Wyoming and you acquire property and land out of the Philippines.
No, I don't acquire. I use the workers because American workers won't pick up the phone and call like they will. They're hungry. So I use Filipino workers to make phone calls to get you your money. Yeah. And this is how, and so once I get you on the phone, I go, Adrian, and the phone call succeeds like this. So let's just say, I'm going to use this example. They owed you $100,000. Okay. My fee is normally 35% because I got to pay for mobile notaries. I got to pay for notaries and documentations and processing fees and all that stuff. So a lot of that money comes out of what I do. By the time I get through, I'm down to anywhere, depending on the state, 15 to 20%. Okay. Because I promise you, you ain't never seen a list of the stuff that they hit me with. But a list to just get you in the state of Wyoming, it's $1,000. For me to just get a list to call the people, it's $1,000. Yeah. So they make it difficult for you to even try to get in contact with people.
Wow.
I got to spend $1,000 on a hope that I'm going to get one person off that list. What if they don't get nobody?
Yeah.
I just spent $1,000 for no reason. But it's important to me because I think about the little old lady in the Walmart parking lot that I didn't make no money off of, but I got her where she can live again and go to bed. Because the other problem she was having, I don't know if you know this, if you just sit in the car, your feet gonna swell. Yeah. You're gonna start to have problems. Yeah. Medical problems. Yeah. You know.
If you ain't moving, you can't stretch, you can't breathe.
Exactly. Those are some health issues.
Yeah.
On an 80-something-year-old woman.
That ain't good.
No, that's not good, Adrian. That's not.
Man, y'all catching a lot right here today on the Lunch and Blunt Show. We got Jay Atkins, man, sitting here giving us the business. You know what I mean? It's so much that you guys are catching, you know. And one last topic, one last thing I got while I got you.
Yes, sir.
Money talk before pillow talk. Before pillow talk.
Mm-hmm. So, I told you, I said, I'm going to show you this. I'm going to turn this around for your viewers to see this. I use my FICA. Those are my scores right now. And I'm after me fooling with buying this house.
Yeah.
So you see it.
After buying the house. You
see what it's some arrows on there. You see them going down, Adrian.
Mm-hmm.
So it was higher than that, but that's where I am right now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try to refresh that screen. You see it?
Yeah.
See where the arrows are going down?
Yeah.
And the most on a house that most people don't realize is a 840.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I said all that to just say this. Man, life is important. Credit is important because credit buys you time. And nobody will know that. You get the best deals. Give you an example, traveling. When I get to an airport and I got American Express, they have a lounge. If let's just say I get there and my plane is delayed, I can go in American Express lounge. They got if I got enough points, I can go in there and say, hey, I want to let me just take a nap in this room. They got little rooms in there you can take a nap in. I can give me a deep tissue massage in the airport.
American Express.
American Express got a lounge. Capital One got a lounge. I got them. I got their card. Chase got a lounge.
Yeah.
I got a Chase card. So
yeah. That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep.
Mm-hmm.
What would you tell anybody that's looking to be an entrepreneur or on the come up or trying to start a business?
I would tell them follow whatever you're passionate about. So this is one thing I know you're passionate about. You're passionate about podcast, giving out new information to people that may not know what that information is.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's follow your passion because it'll take you places you never ever thought possible.
Yeah.
Stop chasing money and start chasing dreams. Let me say it, I'm gonna say it to you the best way I heard it said. When you help somebody else get what they want, you're gonna automatically get what you want. So that's why I say we gotta figure out that's what I wrote on the board. When a client walks through our front door and they pursuing a car, I'm not there to try to make the most money off of them. I'm there to try to help them fulfill their dreams. And if I can do that multiple times, many times over and over again, eventually I'll get mine fulfilled. I went to the bank when I was a salesman. People like, oh, what did you do? I sold 30 cars.
Yeah.
A lot of people ain't wanting to sell 30 cars. I helped 30 people fulfill a dream that month. They got in the car they wanted to get into. And when you help 30 people fulfill a dream,
your dream gonna manifest.
the things I want to do gonna manifest. I want to help. This is my other business. I help people get money back that they don't even know is missing. When you get a year and it's been 5 years and you don't know, you got evicted, you got the house got foreclosed on, you didn't know you had no money coming back. So I sent a mobile notary, and I didn't have people say, well, right, go ahead and just bring me my money then. I said, well, first of all, you have to employ me to do that. I said, but so I can prove to you that I'm not messing with you, and this ain't no scam, because there's a bunch of scams out there. I'm gonna send a mobile notary to you with $100. Once you employ me, she gonna hand you $100. Cash. Now, that may not be nothing to you as far as paying your bills right now, but that tells you I'm not a scam artist.
That tells you that I'm real. I am who I say I am.
Yeah, I'm not a scam artist. If I'm gonna hand you $100 just to employ me and let me go get your money and bring you your money back, what they say?
As real as it can get.
Exactly. And if I tell you, Adrian, you got $75,000 coming, and I follow the rest of the process and get you your 75, and you didn't know it was available, What you gonna think? What would you think right now?
Man, I'd be happy to give you your 30% of whatever you're trying to get.
Exactly.
Because I ain't know it was there from the beginning with.
Exactly.
Listen here, man. Y'all catching a great episode. We're sitting down with Jay Atkins right here at the Lunch and Blunt Show. Make sure y'all tap in, follow, like, subscribe. Jay, how can they find you?
You can, if you need to contact me, you can email me. The letter J, my last name is Akins, Akins, the letter J, Akins, 6770 at yahoo.com. J, Akins, 6770 at yahoo.com.
Let's get that money, man.
Yeah.
Right here at the Lunch and Blunt Show.
Man, it's been a pleasure, brother.
We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Thank you.